Now, as I promised, we'll talk now more about David Bowie and his influence. Let's bring in Jack Stephen. He is director of Fortune Music.
It's actually Fortress Music.
Fortress Music.
Yes.
Do beg your pardon,
never
Jack.
mind.
Fortress Music, and worked as in the music industry as an executive in the Bowie era, and also Bowie's fashion sense we're going to talk about as well. It's influenced the era. And Lizzie Zeta, fashion stylist, is with. Welcome to you both. Apologies again,
No
Jack.
problem.
I mean, but perhaps first sum up how you felt this morning when you heard this news.
I was just saying earlier that I actually felt that part of me had died. I mean, I have to say that's how much an influence he is, I think, to me.
Hey everybody, it's Krusty Christopherson coming at you live from our studio. How's it going, folks? Well, it appears Lazarus has risen early. Didn't take 3 days. It only took 1 day. Here's a video. Somebody sent me the link to this. This is Sky News. It's on this channel called Fortress Music, who has one video. And this guy's name right here is supposedly Jack Stephen. And he's on here. He's a music industry executive of Fortress Music. And he's commenting on the death of David Bowie, who supposedly died on January 10th, 2016. And this is 1 day later. So Lazarus has risen from the dead. He's making his first public appearance, I would imagine, and coming on here and doing a here's my comment. David Bowie commenting on his own hoax death. F the F off. He's doing his own funeral, so to speak, before it even happens. On here talking about how great David Bowie was, and how he just says it's like a part of him died when David Bowie passed, and how much truer can that be? Unless this guy is a doppelganger or a twin of David Bowie, I mean, what other explanation can there be than this guy being on here talking about David Bowie's death? Quiet dog.
To thousands and millions of people around the world. And strangely, I'm surprised. I sort of lived through John Lennon's death, Elvis's death, and sadly, this one's affected me more than any other. I mean, it's a very strange thing, because I think with him, he was probably the first complete artist.
And if you look at his teeth, I'm trying to get a shot of his teeth. He's got the big fake teeth, just like Bowie had.
Where he was involved in every single area of his career, whether it's photography, fashion, whether it was film, whether it was poetry, whether it was live work, where he was very theatrical. I mean, his vocal influence, a lot of people don't know this, came from Anthony Newley, who of course was a musical artist. So I find it very, very sad today.
People today talking about how he reinvented.
See the tongue-in-cheek? Very, very sad today.
Himself, how he went with the times, but he led the times in so many aspects through the 70s, 80s, 90s.
He wasn't frightened of change, and so to him every album was a different persona, and so he loved doing that. So at one point he had Ziggy Stardust, next point he had Ella Insane. And he wasn't frightened of plagiarism either. I mean, he used, for example, the Hunky Dory photograph on the album was actually based on Marlene Dietrich, and so he wasn't frightened where he did, where he used his influence from. I mean, he was hugely influential with me, because I was A&R at RCA when he was sort of to the tail end of that. And I signed a band there called the Eurythmics, which I was having terrible problems with. I mean, really, well, nobody liked them at the label. I mean, promotion didn't like them, press didn't like them. I mean, nobody did. My boss didn't really like them. He kept telling me that they were weird. And there was an artist liaison guy there called Tony McGrogan, who sort of came up to my office, grabbed me, and said, "Look, Bowie wants to meet up with you. Bring the tapes." So I always remember this. I brought The Walk and Love Is a Stranger, and I sat with him and I played them to him, and he thought they were absolutely fantastic. And then, and then he's, I mean, his words to me were very much, if you believe in it, fight for it. Because I have. I mean, that's what he said to me. And so I did, and it became hugely successful. And when the album went top 5, I got a telegram from him saying, "Thank God there's finally an A&R man with ears at RCA. Shame I've gone to EMI."
There's the big teeth. And you can see they're scrambling this picture in this video. I guess they don't want you to make too close of a comparison of the faces between Bowie and this joker who calls himself Jack Stevens. And of course, Jack is just another name for the devil or Nimrod. Jack, Satan, Saturn, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. Black Jack. This guy was a follower of Aleister Crowley, and he said, why should people have an ordinary death? So obviously this guy wants to go out in spectacular fashion, hoaxed his own death, and now he comes on the next day and does a video giving his own obituary. Here's this guy says, F me, Bowie, the crisis actor, talking about himself. He worshipped Aleister Crowley, who was quoted as saying, ordinary mortality is only for ordinary people. There haven't been public photos of Bowie published in the last 6 years. People can change their appearance tremendously in 6 years. So just about everybody commenting on here believes it's David Bowie and selling his own death. Oh my God, doppelganger. He looks like David Bowie. They give you a clue, doesn't it mean it's not robbery or fraud? Yeah, they told you, they coded this story. I told you it was coded 777, Aleister Crowley's number, to let you know that this was all faked. And just like all the other fake news stories, they always use that number in there. They cast a spell with it and put you in the maze. And that's what his big movie was, the Labyrinth of Pan, Labyrinth. And of course, Pan would just be another name for Nimrod, who's the little horn god of the Freemasons. And obviously this guy is totally up to his eyeballs in this craft they call Freemasonry, and they always want to worship and sell you death, and this is no different. And I'm not going to play this whole video. I'll leave a link to this if you want to watch it, but there's the date this was published, and supposedly Bowie died on January 10th. So Lazarus has risen. All hail Ziggy Stardust reborn as Jack Stevens. All right, folks. Christy Christopherson signing out. You take care.
Fine. We'll talk about him as a man, because actually showing that he was funny.
It was very funny, yeah.
Bye-bye.